Fantasy Fuel is powered by Pole Sports. Get instant fantasy football advice through real-time polls by visiting polesports.com.
I'm getting a little low on fuel.
What are you doing, Doc?
I need fuel.
Give me fuel, take the fly, ship me trace it out of sight.
Now, here are your hosts, John Eddie Jr. and Tom Tuttle. The news around the National Football League.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Sam Darnold, the best quarterback in the NFL.
Well, he's only got 2 games worth of stats, but, you know, I'll take it.
He has a win against a team that everybody thought was amazing after week 3.
After week 3,
Yep.
they were flying high.
Not like the Jets are flying high now. Oh, my gosh. Getting a win is, amazing. All I wanted was Sam Darnold to go out there and just look good. I didn't care too much about the win.
Getting a product you can be proud of on the football field, that was the win this week. You didn't think it was going to be all the way. I mean, you had a feeling.
No, I said we were going to win this game. Now, I wouldn't have been surprised if we lost, but I knew it. I knew with everything it was, Sam Darnold's coming back. It just knew, like, this was going to be the game that we're going to take, and this could be it. I mean, I don't know if you have this on the thing, but our schedule going forward after the Patriots looks really, really nice. And there's a possibility there that if we do what we should against these teams, we could be a playoff team.
Yes, I actually looked at that before the Dallas game.
Yeah.
There are some juicy mashups. I mean, Bengals, Dolphins,
Redskins.
It's looking real good. So right off the top, we're going to be talking a lot of NFL news, but right off the top, here's a bit of fantasy advice. If you can trade for or pick up some Jets players,
Yes.
maybe not
makes
right
sense.
away.
Yeah.
They're playing the Patriots again, but after that, there are some really good matchups. If you can get Le'Veon Bell on the cheap, if you can get Robbie Anderson, I know he just had a really good game. Maybe somebody doesn't think that Robbie Anderson is going to do this that many more times this season.
He's going to get it a few times. But another one that somebody might still have this guy in the free agency, and that's Sam Darnold. He still might be sitting there. If you're struggling at quarterback,
Yes.
not this next week, maybe we'll see what happens against the Patriots. I don't expect anything huge out of them, but it could happen. But after that, there's 7 games in a row that are really easy opponents that Sam Darnold could have some stats.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm getting myself hyped up.
Of course,
for something that might be disappointing.
Now, here's a quote from Sam Darnold on the Cowboys. He said, quote, "They just kind of did what they do. They do it every single week. They just play one high, occasionally too high, and they like to stop the run. I knew that I had to throw the ball today to have success, and we did that."
It's almost like a slap in the face to the Cowboys.
It
I
really
knew
is.
what you were going to do, and that's why we won.
Yeah, I mean, you still have to execute.
No, of course.
But to know and execute at the same time, that is a very smart quarterback.
Yeah, I can't. It's not even words I can put into real conversation because this guy is so much better than what we had.
We talked about it before we went on. And you're like, yeah, we don't need you anymore, Luke Falk. Not even as a backup.
No,
go away.
And they did that. They said goodbye. Good.
We'll talk about some other people that got released in a bit.
Yeah.
So let's start with the cowboy bashing. Right off the bat, we're going to talk about Jerry Jones. He apparently, on his first day on the job, fired Tom Landry, one of the greatest coaches the Cowboys has ever had. And that's the same guy who is now stuck with Jason Garrett for a decade. A decade.
Yeah.
That is insane. Why are we sticking with mediocrity for a decade? I like this is maybe a little better than mediocrity.
Yeah, they're
there's a couple playoff wins scattered in there, but
it's not good enough.
No,
it's not good enough. And I think part of it is the fact that I don't want to completely say this, but Tony Romo to me was still a really good quarterback.
Of course.
And he was mediocrity at almost to the T because they make the playoffs, they lose. That's kind of how it's been with him too, but it just seemed like it was a better situation with him. Like you had better hopes with Romo than you do with Dak. Dak can be a good quarterback, but it seems like it's wishy-washy with him. You don't know what you're going to get.
That was actually the other highlight I was looking for that I didn't have saved. So I'll just tell it to you instead of showing it to you. We have a couple highlights we'll show you if you're watching on Twitch. You could see those. This one was Jason Garrett after something had happened. I don't know what. But he was doing his clap, 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 and going for high fives, and everybody was just walking past him, not even acknowledging his existence.
Oh, man.
Like, that's not good.
Yeah, and you can tell.
Yeah.
That's probably going to end up in a bad situation for him.
All right, on to some more cowboy bashing. The NFL teams are now 90-1.
This is great.
Since 1991, when they win time of possession, total yards,
of course,
turnovers.
Oh, yeah.
Pick up 25 first downs.
That's a lot. That's
Convert
amazing.
Convert at least 10 or more third down attempts.
Yeah, well, of course. 10, that's amazing.
Except for the Dallas Cowboys. They're that one team this last Sunday to have lost, doing all of that and not picking up the win.
Good job, Cowboys.
It is amazing.
The first team, and probably the last until the Cowboys do it again in 20 years.
Yeah. Insane.
That is insane. It's crazy, and it's awesome, and I love it.
So the Eagles are playing the Cowboys this next week. Hopefully I'll be able to do the same exact intro next week. I will be very happy if that's the case.
Since 1991, it's been 90-2.
Yeah. No. I don't want them to even get close to any of that. I want this to be like a 35-10 game. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Cowboys will be reeling from then on out, and I will be happy even if we are one and done in the playoffs this year. But anyway, the Eagles are playing the Cowboys this coming Sunday, Sunday Night Football. They're going to be without one person who was doing some bashing of his own on a former teammate, Kirk Cousins. Now, as soon as I saw this, I'm like, Zach Brown, you were an idiot.
Yes.
Why are you talking trash? You were a free agent, like an afterthought pickup on this team. That is not our culture here right now. So why are you doing this?
And the talking trash just bit him right in the butt. Really bad. Really bad.
He said that Kirk Cousins was the key to the Eagles' victory and that every team wanted him to throw. Well, you might want to take a look at our secondary, Zach Brown. It's awful right now.
You might want to just wait till the game is over to say something like that.
I mean, we played such bad defense in that game that there was... Yeah. Both cornerbacks at one point on that long Stephon Diggs touchdown, one of the three he had against us, which I'm sure everybody had him in their lineups.
Of course you had Diggs in your lineup.
But anyway, him and Thielen both were completely wide open. There were no safeties anywhere to be seen, and both corners were looking at each other like, where's our backup here? They were playing it like they were playing a zone defense, and there was nobody over the top.
Zone. It was supposed to be man.
It was a quarters defense, which is in between a zone and a man. But yeah, it was. There must have been something on that play that had made both of the safeties, or if there was only one, made him bite early, and there's just nobody there. So yeah, Kirk Cousins can look like an MVP caliber quarterback against the worst secondaries in the league. So I'm not giving Kirk Cousins everything
This is just making me think. What would have happened last week if Darnold was playing against the Eagles?
Oh, man.
That could have been way different.
It would have been much different.
Gosh. Why did he have to get sick?
Don't know. It's all a part of the NFL plan.
You have to have mono. I don't want mono. You got mono
You
now.
got mono now. Oh, boy. Well, this week was way different than last week. Last week, we're talking about the amazing performances of all these wide receivers and running backs and quarterbacks. And this week, there really wasn't much of that.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a lot of the opposite of that this week. Mm-hmm. And we're going to start with the NFL's highest paid player in guaranteed money, Jared Goff. Jared Goff.
I mean, he's amazing. Amazing.
I mean, we touched on it a long time ago. We've talked about it a couple of times. Something's going on there where it feels like that offense doesn't actually run through Jared Goff. And
You're right.
take a look at this. Jared Goff, heading into week 7, he's tied for last in his division for touchdowns, last in completion percentage, first in interceptions,
Oh, that's not a good one.
last in QB rating, and first in fumbles.
Oh, I mean, he's first in some categories there. I mean, that's good. That's
If you're
good
not
progress.
first, you're last, and this is bad both ways, no
That's-
matter how you look at it.
I would have never thought that, to be honest. I would have never thought he was last or first in some of these categories. He's just the worst. How is that really possible? What a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. Now, rightly so, they probably shouldn't have been in the Super Bowl. But still, Super Bowl or championship game, either way, it was a good team.
Right.
They're still not terrible, but wow, that's crazy that he has all the really bad.
And who are the
stat
other
lines.
quarterbacks in his division? Russell Wilson.
Yeah, well,
Obviously. Jimmy Garoppolo.
yeah, right now it looks fine. Yeah, good.
And who else?
I gotta think. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, I know. I like to do that.
Don't do
sometimes.
this to me. Come on, man. Just say what the team is, and then I can tell you.
The Cardinals?
Oh yeah, Kyler Murray. I don't particularly like Kyler Murray, but
He's not
he's
awful.
making his statement to a certain extent. He's not absolutely horrendous.
His team's not great, but
Right.
he's doing fine for a rookie quarterback that's like 5'2".
That's true. I like short quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I should actually like him more than I do.
All right, more Jared Goff news. This says, think of all the bad quarterback play you've seen in the last 20 years. All the bad weather,
Yep.
third-string quarterbacks, great pass defenses you've watched. There have only been 7 games since 2000 where a team gained a first down on 4% or worse of their pass plays. Yesterday, Jared Goff added to that list.
Wow.
Now,
I mean,
yesterday they went against the Niners, and the Niners are shocking some people.
yeah,
Their
they're actually a
defense
really
is
good team.
legit.
They're a really good team. And nobody's talking about it. It seems like everybody's sitting and saying, "Oh, look at the Patriots," and they're still saying, "Look at the Chiefs," even though they kind of been stumbling a little bit. Nobody's talking about
There
the
are
49ers.
2 undefeated teams left: a Tom Brady-led team and
Yep.
a Jimmy Garoppolo-led team.
Yep. It's that's what I'm saying. Nobody is talking about it.
They're not. Let's keep talking about Jared Goff. Jared Goff, who fumbled in 10 straight games prior to not fumbling the previous week, fumbled again on Sunday. That is 13 fumbles and 13 interceptions in the last 12 games for him.
That is just bad news.
What is going on?
It's that offensive line just must be really bad to where he just can't get it off good enough, or when he does get it off, it's in the arms of some other team. Wow.
I don't know what's going on. I mean, we half joked about, Sean McVay runs this offense and he calls the plays and he tells Jared Goff who to throw the ball to. It feels
Can't
like
work that way.
it's
It can't work that
actually
way.
happening, and
It-
Jared Goff cannot make a decision on his own very well unless it's a bad team.
They need what McVay needs is he needs a quarterback that's a robot, and he needs a
A
controller.
joystick, yeah.
And he can play Madden with that quarterback, and
He
then
needs
everything
that
will work
NFL
out
on
fine.
Fox robot thing that they used to have on there. I don't know if they still do.
I don't know if they still do or not, but that thing was definitely that's what he needs for
Yeah.
sure.
Now, it's not on our notes here, but there was another team. also in LA, that has been struggling, the Chargers. I didn't watch any of that game last night, and I saw some highlights after it was over and looked at the stats, and I'm like, what's going on? And before you say anything, I have to mention, if you watched the stream before Tom joined me on Sunday morning, I was making fun of Hunter Henry. He's coming back. Oh, he's probably going to get into action. I'm like, why would anybody play Hunter Henry when he's questionable but probable? And then he gets 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm like,
yep.
I'm sorry.
And I think it was 8 receptions, if I'm recalling correctly.
He's the only one that did anything on that team on Sunday. Phillip Rivers, without him, would have been horrible again. Mm-hmm. Now, Phillip Rivers just got beat by Devlin Hodges.
It's just, I don't know what's going on with the Chargers, but I will say this. When half of your stadium is filled with the other team's
I think it was more than
fans,
half.
It has to be. Every time they shot any part of the audience, the crowd.
Terrible towels.
You could see black jerseys and, terrible towels. And you're just like, this can't happen.
No.
That team is on the other side of the country. And you're drawing more people for that team than the home team. I mean, that's sad. You can't expect to win games when you're away every single week.
Right.
I think that's the problem right now. Well, it's part of the problem. They have a lot of other issues, but it has to be demoralizing as a team to go into your home stadium and have less than half of your stadium filled with your fans.
It's insane. And a guy that everybody had been counting on for the first 5 weeks of the season was lighting it up. He kind of had a bad day even in week 5, but he made up for it with 15 catches. I'm talking about Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
He did nothing. Mm-hmm. 3 catches, 14 yards, 5 carries, 14 yards. He touched the ball 8 times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. What are the Chargers doing? Not getting.
And it's not like Melvin Gordon did amazing.
Oh no!
So it's like, I mean, I got enough points out of him to win my fantasy football game, but just barely.
Oof.
Yeah, it's interesting. Austin Eckler's been your best player on the team all year, and you just didn't give it to him enough. Melvin Gordon's just not. He's not there yet.
No.
If he's going to get there, it's not yet, and it needs to happen sooner rather than later. And if it's not going to happen, it needs to be Eckler because he's outperformed him by a lot.
So far. So speaking of LA teams, there was a strong rumor apparently floating around in recent weeks that the NFL asked if St. Louis wanted the Chargers.
That makes no sense.
What?
You just had a team.
You just had the other team that moved to LA. Now you want the other LA team to move back? I understand the Chargers aren't doing well out there, and nobody really cares, it seems, that they even have a team to root for.
I mean, I would imagine the Chargers would almost take this seriously, but it's just weird to say St. Louis, hey, we don't have a team anymore, and it feels weird. We need somebody, and we can't ask the Rams back. That would just be weird.
I don't know. I would like it. I personally would like it because then there is another city close enough near us that we could actually drive to it.
Yeah.
It's not even that much further than us going to Green Bay, really. Maybe an hour and a half.
I think it would be a little further, but
it's a little bit.
But
if you're willing to go 4.5 hours to Green Bay, I'm willing to go 6.5 hours.
You know what's funny is I'd rather go to Green Bay than Chicago, even though Chicago's a lot closer to us.
Yeah,
I'd much rather go to Green Bay.
Yeah, not a fan of Chicago.
It's just too much. It's like I can't handle all this traffic and all that. I'm not a city person, people.
Yeah, no,
I'm really not.
I'm a mid-city person, but that's,
mid-city.
Yeah,
what does that even mean?
It means I don't want to be in L.A. or New York, but I'm okay with Madison, Milwaukee.
Okay, yeah, that's not to me. I guess that's kind of city. I guess mid-city makes sense. I'll let it pass.
Something like that. Yeah. So let's move on to one of the worst games on the slate, and I'm not talking about Washington and Miami yet.
To me, That's got to be the worst. But move on. Let's go.
I am talking about Denver and Tennessee. And who did we see in the Tennessee
We
game?
finally saw the new starting quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. If they don't have him starting next week, there's something wrong with that team.
There's something.
You have to start him. He is a starting quarterback, or at least he was. He's got the capabilities to be a decent starting quarterback. Not going to be spectacular. He's not going to win you 16 games in a season, but he can at least win you 8 out of 16. At least get close to that. Right now, that's better than what Mariota's giving. Because, I mean, if you saw that play that you sent me, it was just horrendous.
Just
the way
insane.
Mariota is just terrible at that. It was
Yeah.
just horrible.
There was a comparison. Well, I'll tell you that play. Marcus Mariota, he almost got sacked. It was on a play where the Broncos only sent 2 men in pass rush, and there was only 10 men on the field. Marcus Mariota scrambled around enough where the offensive line just gave up, and he almost got sacked close to the line of scrimmage with nobody around him. It was just they stopped
two-man
playing
rush.
for him.
2-man rush.
They stopped playing for him. So I'm looking up Ryan Tannehill's number because he only got to play a little bit. But he was 13 of 16 for 144 yards with an interception. Now they were down 16 or 17 to nothing. So he had to force some things. So he only had a few points.
13 to 16. Your only incomplete is 3, and one of them was interception, so only 2 real incompletions.
Right.
Oh, no, it doesn't make sense. Whatever.
Yeah,
Keep
it's
going.
okay. But there was a comparison I saw. I'm not taking credit for it, but there was a comparison that said Marcus Mariota is missing too many layups, and Jameis Winston is attempting too many 3-pointers.
That might be true, but like I said before, I think that if you miss 3-pointers, it's more acceptable than missing layups. Now, I know what you're going to say, but to me, at least you're trying to get some, I don't know, it's just 3-pointers being missed.
It equals
way more acceptable.
a better fantasy quarterback. We're not talking NFL caliber quarterbacks now. Here is Marcus Mariota's stats on the day. Because I had to scroll to the very bottom of the list that I have because he ended the day with negative 1.08 points in the league I'm looking at. 7 of 18 for 63 yards, 2 interceptions, 2 attempts for 4 yards. We've been seeing just blah play for him except when he's in garbage time.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's just horrible. Hopefully we're done with the Marcus Mariota experiment.
It has to be at this point. The only other reason he needs to be on an NFL field is if the other quarterback gets hurt. And then say, all right, well, back up. Put the backup in.
He could be a fine backup.
Oh, he's a fine backup. I'm not going to say he's not a fine backup. He can be, if you can still win a game with Marcus Mariota. If he's on the field, there's possibility. They won what? Three games? They've won games with Marcus Mariota.
Yes.
So you can win, but he's not going to give you a ton of wins. So you need somebody else to actually help you with that. Now, I don't know if Tannehill's going to be that guy.
Might not be it either, but that's okay. Now let's move on to the other worst game of the day.
This is the Dolphins had a chance. They had their chance.
I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with a nice little stat. Since 2008, ESPN's Football Power Index has assigned a matchup quality score for every game each week in advance on a 0 to 100 scale. Can you take a guess on what this particular game scored?
I don't even know how this is possible. How do you get a 0.0? That is just so bad.
There was absolutely nothing that anybody wanted to see in that game, except for me. I pulled Joe Mixon 2 minutes before noon, our time, to put in Terry McLaurin. Best decision I made all week.
Yes, and I was watching here and there, Red Zone and whatnot for Kenyon Drake. as the only guy I have on either one of those teams, on any league, I believe. And, yeah, and he did okay.
He's fine.
He's fine. He did
got
his
his
typical
10
10 points.
He got his 10 points.
10 points every week. I'm okay with that. That's
fine.
That gives me what I need.
Like, MJ, it's like, so totally the cringeworthy player of, like, the week.
Yeah, and it comes from the game you thought it would.
Yes, of course.
I feel so bad for this guy. But
Yeah.
Josh Rosen's air yards to the sticks. We're talking about how far he is throwing it in relation to the first down marker.
Yeah.
His average was a negative 8.9, meaning he threw 8.9 yards short of the first down marker
Yeah.
on average,
Yep.
which means he was throwing it basically a yard from the line of scrimmage.
1 point yard.
I
I don't.
that's worse than Luke Falk.
And I was saying that, like
Yes, you
Luke
were.
Falk, that's all he did was throw
Oh,
it to
my
Le'Veon
goodness.
Bell every single play. But if that's worse than Luke Falk, I'm sorry.
Does that mean he should get cut like Luke Falk?
Maybe there's no point in really having him. There's no point in continuing to go down the rabbit hole. You might as well just throw Fitzpatrick out there and say, "What? Who cares? Let's do it." I know they did.
They did. I can't believe
And they almost
this
won.
cycle is going to happen multiple times in the same year for Ryan Fitzpatrick this year, it looks like.
Oh, that guy with as much. How many teams has it been now that he's been on?
Like 8 or 9.
He's always started.
He's always
started on every team he's been on.
Yeah, it's
Excuse me.
unbelievable. Now on to that 2-point try. Which was aimed at Kenyon Drake.
Mm-hmm.
And he dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think he was going to score even if he got the pass. As soon as he hit his hands, there was 2 or 3 Washington defenders right there that nobody felt like blocking. So he heard the footsteps. Okay, it happens from time to time. Fred Smoot said on the Dolphins' 2-point try, "I think they went for Tua, not 2." I wish I could take credit for coming up with that.
That's
That
a good
was
one.
Beautiful.
That is a good one. They went for Tua.
They went for Tua.
Yeah. Why? I mean,
And
why
they
even-
may have succeeded in that particular attempt.
Yes. I don't know why you would try to win at this point. You're the guy you traded for, whom you thought maybe there's a chance he's going to be a starting quarterback for us.
Mm-hmm.
Garbage.
Fitzpatrick
isn't good. He's not garbage. I'm not going to say Fitzpatrick's garbage. He's not good. He's not your future.
No.
You have to go for Tua.
You
have to just purposely lose. Do all you can.
And I'm not even sure Tua is the best quarterback that's going to come out. I'm seeing some good things out of Jalen Hurts. Not that that's a surprise for anybody to say, but yeah, they got to go for something.
They need to go for a quarterback. That number 1 pick needs to be theirs. They need to have their choice of whoever they want. Because
they need the first 5 picks. With all the people
of them
they got
quarterbacks.
rid of. Yeah, no,
all of them quarterbacks.
No.
Competition.
So let's move back to some positive news about a team. We're going to talk about the 49ers, but I'm going to start off by naming a few wide receivers. Mike Evans.
Yes.
Pretty good wide receiver. Mm-hmm. His counterpart, Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
Having a great year.
Oh, yeah, great year.
Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of good games. He is a superstar.
Yep, still superstar.
Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and Brandon Cooks.
All good receivers.
Premier wide receivers. Combined against the 49ers
now
this
listen
season,
to this. This is amazing.
Combined 6 wide receivers in basically 3 games. 14 catches, 143 yards, and 1 touchdown. Combined. 6 guys.
And that's if that was just 1 week, that would be a really good week. But we're not talking about 1 week. I mean, these are premier wide receivers against the 49ers. They're completely stopping these high-end receivers, and there's no reason. And 3 of these guys are on the same team.
Yeah.
So you
They
would
shut
think
that
one
whole
of them
team down.
guys would have done something.
That was
but
this
they
last
couldn't.
week we were
Right.
talking about. It was a terrible offensive performance
Mm-hmm.
for the Rams, and the 49ers defense needs their credit. Maybe
Yes,
it
they
was
do.
more on the defense than it was on the offense, but that's just a all-time horrible performance for an offense there. And keeping with the 49ers, let's talk about George Kittle, since there's only a couple tight ends that are even performing well this year. He is one of them, and he apparently is the most efficient receiver in football. That's including wide receivers.
Yeah.
Yards per route run leaders, he is right at the top, beating Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, Michael Thomas, and Michael Gallup. All those offenses have just gone all out in the last couple of 3-4 weeks. And George Kittle is outperforming all of them. Maybe not in fantasy numbers per se.
Not in fantasy, no. I just want to put that in a little bit of perspective. When you put it down to average, he is second overall.
Okay.
Now, right now, he's actually 4th in scoring, but second overall in average. And the only other person who is ahead of him is Austin Hooper, who's been the bright spot of that entire Falcons team.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what's going on with Julio, because that's a disappointment to a certain extent. And you drafted this guy to be a number 1 receiver, and you're just not getting number 1 out of him.
He had an okay week this week, but
It's fine. It's just not number 1 superstar wide receiver that you were expecting to get out of him.
Yeah. I'm looking up his numbers right now. Julio Jones, he's number 7 overall, but it's just...
You didn't expect him to be number 7. And some of these weeks, he's not playing as number 7. He's playing worse than that. But you expected him to be top 5 at the very minimum.
Yeah.
You didn't want him to go lower than that, and he's already lower than that.
After 2 straight weeks of under 10 points, he at least got back to 18, so there was no touchdown involved.
18 is fine.
Yes.
But he has to do that. He has to do that every week.
Every
single
week. And speaking of the Falcons, let's talk about Austin Hooper. This guy is on fire. Now, yes, he played against the Cardinals. We told you, fire him up.
Oh, man.
If you're in DFS, I don't care if everybody's going to play him. You got to take him.
You have to, because otherwise somebody who does play him, even though it's the most popular decision, it still pays out to them.
Because he is averaging right now about 18.5 points a game in PPR.
That's perfect.
And that's perfect. That's like Travis Kelce, Gronkowski-ish type numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Rob Gronkowski Hall of Fame type numbers.
I don't even want to talk about Gronk, because that's
I
just
know.
going to make me mad, because he's going to come back. And
he is right now the only tight end over 100 points in this league that I'm looking at. 19 points ahead of Mark Andrews. And 23 points again over Travis Kelce, and about 30 points ahead of Evan Engram, who did not play this last week.
Right.
So Evan Engram is the closest one on average to Austin Hooper. But Austin Hooper is a name that is going to be talked about in this offseason, because he is just 24 and in the final year of his rookie deal.
And do you think the Falcons are going to go for it?
Do they have enough money?
Where do they have the money? They're paying a ton to Matt Ryan, a ton to Julio. That's most of their money to begin with.
Right.
How are you gonna afford a tight end who's performing better than all other tight ends?
Yeah. He leads all tight ends in catches. He's 8th in the NFL in receiving yards, and is on pace for 112 catches, 1,280 yards, and 8 touchdowns. That is like top 5 wide receiver numbers at the end of the year. And there's something wrong with this offense, too.
No, there's something messed up.
I shouldn't say there's something wrong with this offense. There is something wrong with the Falcons, because congrats are in order to Matt Ryan, becoming the first QB in NFL history to complete 80% of his passes for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and lose.
That's something.
We're seeing this more and more. we talked about the Cowboys and how they
Yeah.
had all those stats won,
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
It feels like teams are getting up and they're letting them come back, getting all these yards. They're playing this weird new bend but don't break defense.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
I don't either.
I don't like it.
But it's working.
It's working, but I still don't like it.
You don't have to like it.
And I feel like the Jets could have put that game away if we would
Yes.
have played our defense the same way,
Exactly.
except for they just didn't. They just let them come back. And then what happens when you let people come back? They have a chance to tie the game, and the Jets.
Well,
and then,
after 6 straight penalties on 6 straight plays.
was so bad. That was so bad. Like, I've seen so many people complain about penalties, complain about this guy shouldn't have, pass interference, whatnot. That was bad. I don't know how you get I'm pretty sure it's 5 consecutive pass interference plays. Oh, no. There was a holding on the Cowboys in there somewhere. But all the rest of them were like pass interference against the Jets.
Yes.
And I was just like, this is insane. And I thought they're going to call pass interference
On the
two-point
two-pointer,
conversion,
yes,
but
I
they
know.
didn't.
I was holding my breath. I felt the same as I was looking for a flag at the end of the Eagles Super Bowl when that ball was in the air and it bounced on the ground, and I'm like,
Look around. Is it over?
no, they lost. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I can breathe again. Because I needed the Cowboys to lose very badly.
Yeah.
Very, very badly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, them Falcons. I mean, Devonta Freeman finally had a good week.
Yeah.
He hit a couple of touchdowns and was in, I think, all of my lineup. So I hadn't benched him yet, but it was getting close to that time where I was thinking about it. But luckily, he was still in there. And a guy that I shouldn't bench anywhere for any reason, and I normally wouldn't, but in one league, I have both Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson, and I'm not sure what to do anymore.
Ooh, you toss a coin up every week. No, just look at matchups and try and go with the best matchup, because it's really difficult to bench Mahomes. But when you have Russell Wilson, I don't know what else you could. I can't tell you what to do, because you have to go with the guy that's producing, and it depends on, I guess, the matchups.
Yeah,
You have to stream them together.
I don't think it matters for Russell Wilson what the matchup is, because he confirmed already that he led a first half touchdown drive with all communications completely severed from the coaches. He called all the plays.
Yeah.
And did everything that needed to be done, and just doop, 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 touchdown.
Perfect.
Here we go.
The guy is really good. I mean, I don't know how many times we got to say this every week. It seems like people still aren't getting it in their heads.
They aren't.
He's the best quarterback in fantasy football right now.
Do you remember the Pole Sports question that I asked you as soon as you got on? I was like, I can't believe this is even a thing. I was like, who are you going to play, Matt Ryan or the number 1 overall quarterback in fantasy football?
Clearly, Matt Ryan.
I mean,
Why wouldn't you play Matt Ryan?
who is asking? I mean, they both had good games, so it didn't matter in the end.
But it's still the number 1 overall, because he's been really good and for the most part consistent. He had a couple weeks where he was kind of like, okay, we'll see what happens. But then he's been producing at a very high level, and he's amazing. I can't say it enough.
Yep. And
If I could have a quarterback and a running back, it would be Russell Wilson, Chris McCaffrey. Oh, I should put my best lineup together based off
your
the people.
favorite lineup.
My favorite, best, whatever you want to call it, lineup.
and then see if it would have even been possible to draft all those guys.
Russell Wilson and McCaffrey,
Well,
yes.
obviously those are,
Yes.
because you're not taking Russell Wilson in
No.
the first round of the
No,
fantasy draft. If you are, I've got more leagues that I need you in. But that's another story. One more question here before we get to some stats and a couple of highlights. Which is more impressive? Carolina going 4-0 without Cam Newton, or New Orleans going 4-0 without Drew Brees?
Both impressive.
Of course.
But I'm going to say this, and I just talked about Christian McCaffrey, and I think it's a little more impressive out of Christian McCaffrey, because that's who they've been playing. That's who they've been leaning on.
Oh, yeah.
It's not been the quarterback. It's not been the wide receivers. I mean, they've contributed, obviously. But Christian McCaffrey is the entire offense, and they win with him.
Well, come on now. Curtis Samuel scored just as many touchdowns.
Yeah,
as
sure.
Christian
That's
McCaffrey
fine.
did.
But Christian McCaffrey is the main reason that they are winning games. And I don't think it matters who is the quarterback as long as they're halfway decent. Now, if it's Cam Newton and he's actually healthy and his mind is right, then I think they have a better chance of winning. And maybe it's not all on Christian McCaffrey, but they're still going to use him at a ridiculous amount. And I think he is, to me, that's what's been most impressive. The numbers he's put up since Cam Newton has been out has been astronomical.
Yeah, it would be really interesting to see what they could do if Cam was healthy and back to his MVP year form with a weapon like Christian McCaffrey.
No, of course, yeah.
I doubt we'll ever see that again.
I don't know.
You're saying Carolina is more impressive.
I think it's more impressive.
Based on your
Christian
fanboyishness of Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, it's clear, though.
It's
clear. It's obvious.
I just had to slide that in there. I got to say it's more impressive that New Orleans has gone 4-0 without Breeze because they never expected to be without Drew Brees. There was questions about Cam Newton dating all the way back to last year, but we had no idea it was going to be Kyle Allen. Now, Teddy Bridgewater was a serviceable quarterback. I never thought he was amazing, but he has had just enough time to learn that offense and learn from Drew Brees, and he also has better weapons. But for the Saints to play the defense that they've been playing, I mean, win a game 12-10 against Dallas. Now, we're still all up there on Dallas, not sure what to actually think. I know what I want to believe.
I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm nothing. And yes, the Jets just beat them. But the Cowboys, at best, will be 9-7 this year. I think they will be possibly worse than that. I think 8-8 is probably that's the numbers coming out. Well, right now they're
done that so
they're
many times.
3-3 right now, so that's 500
tied for first with the crappy secondary of the Philadelphia Eagles,
and it's going to be the Giants that win that division,
dude. They can't be in first place after next week because the Cowboys and Eagles play each other.
Yeah. Well, what's the Giants' record?
I believe they're 2-4.
Okay, they can't. So, even if you guys tied,
right?
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah. So, boy, it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I like that the Saints are 4-0 without Drew Brees, and that it hasn't been a smooth road for Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas seems to have done better since Drew Brees went out. Not because he's went out, but he has stayed closer to the same type of player. Alvin Kamara has had a little bumpier road to get to the amount of points that he's gotten. He's had to get a few more catches. I mean, at one point I saw he had like 7 catches for 39 yards or something. I'm like, okay, well, he's got 10 points at this point, but man, that is a hard-earned 10 fantasy points when you got to get it all in PPR like that.
I think that's part of the reason I think it's more impressive. I'm not even going to say the Panthers. I think it's just all Christian McCaffrey. I think that's just more impressive. And it's funny, my brother texted me. He's like, "Oh, they shut down Christian McCaffrey this last week," and I said, "Well, yeah, I suppose you can say that if you're looking at the yards and all that stuff." But he had 2 touchdowns. But if you just look at that one play, that one pass catch that he ran the ball and had this crazy juke move, it
wasn't that no, like you had to watch it a couple of times to really see because there wasn't a big jump from where he was to where he went, but people were just falling over next to him because he made him think he was going somewhere else. So
it's deception, and he's really good at it. And I showed that to my brother, and he was like, "Oh wow, that looked like Madden." It's like it just a little bit. I mean, when somebody is playing football and it looks like a video game, that's when you know they're good.
That is when you know. Well, I have a couple of things here. I want to start off with a fun one that we want to play. And this is the Seattle Seahawks. They're having some fun. They're winning. It was a weird win against the Browns. They almost let them come back, and that was terrible.
Yeah.
But a touchdown celebration. Now, we have referenced this particular music in the past. And now we're going to show you.
If you're watching, you're going to see it. But if you're not watching, this is why you got to go to Twitch.
Yes, exactly.
And watch it.
Come watch us on twitch.tv/fantasyfuel. If you haven't yet, it's a much better experience, in my opinion. Of course. Because we do answer questions before and after the show. Sometimes we interact a little bit more instead of just a podcast where you can't be friends with us. Something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, here is a highlight of the Seattle Seahawks in the end zone dancing to some music that somebody synced up to it. It was
That's just awesome. That's
perfect.
That is awesome. I love that. I mean, how do you get them? Did they have to slow the video down at all to match it up with the?
It was just slightly off, but
they had to have practiced it with the music.
Well, yeah,
and that's what I want to see. I want to see the players. All right, guys, if we do this, we're going to do this celebration. We got to practice it, okay?
Well, if you and I were on a team like that could celebrate, we would plan something unbelievably dumb like this.
That means they have to be playing that music in the background. And then I can just see a coach walking past the lock.
They're studying film. What film are you studying? That's a Backstreet Boys video. That's an NSYNC video. I'm like, no, that's not the film you should be studying, guys. Anyway, that was the fun one.
Yeah.
This is the one I want to show. Because last week, this particular player, Will Fuller, had one of the best weeks we've seen from a wide receiver in a long time. Mm-hmm. He almost had that same performance again this week. And it doesn't look like
no, it doesn't. On paper, it doesn't.
At all. Mm-mm. But here we go. Will Fuller just not doing what he needs to do. Watson sets up. Deep ball. Double bobbled in the end zone.
Got to catch it.
Deep, wide open, falls down, can't come up with it. And the last one here, over the shoulder, could have done it.
Yep.
Didn't.
That's 3 potential touchdowns. And which would have put him in astronomical numbers again.
And I don't think I have the stat on the notes here, but the Houston Texans, I believe, ran 36 more offensive plays than the Chiefs did in that game.
That's insane.
And if they would have scored on some of those plays, it would have been a blowout.
It could have been, yeah. And really, with Will Fuller, all you really need out of him, you don't need him to catch all 3. You just need him to catch one of those, and you're a very comfortable starting him.
Yes.
Now, I started him, and I was still okay with it. Yeah. He gave me, I think it was 9 points, something like that. Not what I was expecting.
If he's your wide receiver 3, you're like, all right.
He was in my flex, so I didn't have a problem having Will Fuller in my flex. That's a really good flex spot for me.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was a little I still won, barely. Because of Melvin Gordon giving me 6 points or whatever it was.
Not because of Tyreek Hill?
Oh, that did help, didn't it?
Oh, my
that was so big.
So big. Tyreek Hill coming back this week. That is one of the first performances we will talk about fantasy-wise. It didn't really feel like it was an amazing performance, but coming off the injury and coming back, and his first touchdown wasn't a Tyreek Hill touchdown. It wasn't him blowing by a guy. It was him boxing out a receiver and jumping up for the ball like... Who is this person? This is supposed
healthy.
To be.
He's healthy.
He's healthy. 5 catches and 80 yards. Not a huge stat line there.
Right.
But got the 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
So
beautiful.
Bam.
And yeah, I mean that's all you need out of him because that's just beautiful. And in the listener league, I was doing so bad.
Finally,
doing so bad because I was like 1-3, I think. Now I am going to be 3-3, and I'm heading in the right direction.
You are headed in the right direction. It took a bit, but he's finally.
That was part of the risk because this listener league, I have nothing to lose.
No, of course
I don't. There's nothing.
We're giving away a jersey, no matter if you and I play each other in the finals.
I was trying something. Okay, give me Melvin Gordon. That was one of the picks I kind of wasted. There's a couple other ones that I could say, but then I didn't know Tyreek Hill was going to get hurt and miss a bunch of times, so that put a huge rent. And I can't I can't drop him.
No.
I mean, there's no chance I'm going to drop Tyreek Hill. Even if I could, I don't even think it's possible. I think that's one of the guys I'm not allowed to drop.
I believe you are correct on that one.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to drop him. So, yeah, Tyreek Hill, amazing. Love it. He's in my lineup every week from now.
A guy I took in pretty much all of the Poll Sports polls that had him in there, and I believe he probably was on top of everybody because anybody that was above him was not an option against him, and that was Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah,
and he was good. He 10 for 76 and a touchdown. That's good for 23 points. In PPR. That's a great one. And I actually got him off of waivers in a league like 4 weeks ago. I'm like, I know he's not been doing great, but he should still be on your bench for a little bit.
To me, there's no. I'm still stashing Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah,
I'm not going to put him on the waiver wire. He's on my team because he can be
back,
really good.
Oh my God, we need him so bad.
What's the timeline on him? When is he coming back?
He is not 100%, but there is a chance he plays this coming week.
Okay.
They may have just been saving him for Dallas.
This. Yeah. And it's possible. I mean, Robbie Anderson is not as fast, but he's fast. He's not as fast as Deshaun Jackson, and Jackson can fly. So if he's anywhere close to what Robbie Anderson did last week with that 92-yard reception, we could have another one of those.
Exactly. Of course, the highest fantasy points getter this week was Stephon Diggs. We referenced him earlier.
Yeah.
How many people out there had him on their bench? I mean, I picked him off of waivers in the listener league. I didn't realize. I was like, wait, what?
That's insane.
I didn't play him.
Even realize he was on there.
I didn't either until I just bam.
But I wasn't I'm not gonna pick him up anyway. I had Thielen. It's like I don't want both of them.
Yeah.
Because one of them's gonna suck and one of them's gonna be good.
Yeah.
you
just want to stick whichever one you got out there and hope it's not that one. Oh, man. But, yeah, Stephon Diggs in that performance, 7 for 167 and 3.
Yeah. Unreal.
Can you honestly be confident in putting him in your lineup going forward? With a 5, a 9, a 4, a 15, and a 7 previous 5 weeks. And then a 45. He has 88 total points, and half of them were in one game so far.
If you can survive on a 10-point week with him, if you can survive on 10 points, you can put him in your lineup. But if you cannot survive on a 10-point week, then you cannot put him in your lineup to hope for another 30, 40-point week.
Right.
You have to have something that's more consistent in the 15s to 20s because 10 points may not win you a game.
Yep. I'm just looking forward here. I mean, we're 6 weeks deep, so it's time to start looking ahead a little bit. Most people are kind of knowing if they're going to be able to make the playoffs or not at this point. There's going to be some surprises. There might be a couple more injuries that'll, shake it up. But at this point, you can look forward. I mean, I'm 5-0 in a league. I'm still playing to be undefeated in that one. I'm 4-1 in a couple of leagues. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to make the playoffs in these. So I'm going to start looking at the fantasy playoffs. And for Stephon Diggs, he's going against the Lions, Chargers, and Packers.
Okay.
And the Lions' defense has been okay. The Chargers has just not been that great.
No.
And the Packers, we don't know.
The Packers is weird. It's a weird one. And I know that we're doing this podcast right in the middle of the game, so I'm not watching any of the game right now.
Yeah, not yet.
But, I mean, the Packers are a weird team when it comes to their passing defense. 1 week, they're unstoppable. Yeah. And the next week, it's like, okay, they're just a regular defense, and there's nothing special here. So we'll see what's happening with this game that's going on right now. But there's no reason to think you can't start somebody against the Packers at this point.
Yeah, I had to look since I realized we were a half an hour deep into the game, and the Lions are up 13-0.
Okay, then. That's it.
How'd
they score?
Kerryon Johnson has 6 carries for 9 yards and a touchdown.
Okay.
Kenny Galladay, the guy I need to do good, is 3 for 83 at this point. But I don't remember what the other guy has that I'm playing against that I need Galladay to outscore by 9 points. So right now I'm guessing I'm not there. I think it was – no. Was it? Oh, no, that was the charity league. We We need Aaron Rodgers to outscore Danny Amendola, or maybe we're up by 9 and trying to fend him off or something stupid
Well,
like that.
we should hold that
I
one
would
off.
think
I would
that
hope
one's
so.
going
Aaron
to
Rodgers
work.
would have to have a really bad performance
Yes.
to not fend that one off.
Yes, he would. But in the instance of Stephon Diggs, those teams, you can't be confident going forward in the fantasy playoffs with Stephon Diggs. So if he has...
Yeah. I mean,
if there's an offer out there, somebody wants to get Stephon Diggs from you, I would seriously consider it.
Yes, and if they have somebody from like the Jets, like who has a very easy schedule going forward, that's something you have to consider.
Yes, let's look at that. Where did I see Sam Darnold? There he is. Let's look at that schedule going forward. Obviously, the Patriots. Then we have the Jaguars, who are Dolphins, Giants, Redskins, Raiders, Bengals, Dolphins. The Dolphins would be in week 1 of the fantasy playoffs. Then it's the Ravens and Steelers. The Ravens,
that
not
could
so
be an easy
much.
one.
Steelers, I don't know yet. With Minka Fitzpatrick, they seem to be getting better.
They're better. They're a better team than they were.
But Sam Darnold could
week
get
1.
you a win in week 1 of the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, there's no doubt. If you have Sam
Almost.
Darnold or if you have Robbie Anderson or Le'Veon Bell, I mean, you probably have to give up quite a bit to get Le'Veon from somebody because they're still using him and he's still going to be a high-end running back.
Yep.
But, yeah, him, I would even say Crowder once that gets into
He
the
actually
fold.
had a bunch of targets again.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
there you go. Another guy I was looking at who finally had a good game was Devonta Freeman. Not that great of a fantasy playoff schedule. Panthers, 49ers, Jaguars.
Yeah.
So now
Difficult.
the reason I saw that one and I was like, ooh, was because the week 15 matchup for the Falcons is against the Niners. If their pass defense holds all year long, all you people out there with Matt Ryan and Julio, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I mean, Calvin Ridley has been decent and Austin Hooper has been amazing.
Yeah, he's been great.
So everybody that rides those guys to the fantasy playoffs, they might have a difficult time getting to the championship week.
And the fact that you have a name of Julio, you might be able to trade that off to get something in return. You got to start looking at matchups down the road now because maybe Julio's not going to cut it for you.
Now, I'm looking at the Eagles' schedule.
Mm-hmm.
These, including this last week, the 3 weeks that they're on the road, are tough. It was at the Vikings.
Right.
Yes. We're at the Cowboys. We never know what to expect. We usually win in Dallas, and then they beat us in Philly. Then we play at the Bills. And that's going to be a
hard.
difficult one.
Yeah.
Then against the Bears, then the bye week, then the Patriots, and the Seahawks. Tough schedule. But then you look, if you need a win to get in the playoffs, week 13, we play the Dolphins.
Yes.
Week 14, first week of fantasy playoffs, we play the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Week 15,
Redskins.
Redskins. And week 16, we're back versus the Cowboys at home. And usually it's a decent fantasy performance. We may not end up winning.
Yeah.
But
you can at least get through to the Super Bowl game.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I really like the Eagles' schedule going
In
into
the fantasy playoffs, yes, that's a good schedule.
That is amazing right there. Now, let's look at your boy Christian McCaffrey as soon as I can find
That's
him.
a good one. But you're still not going to trade him no matter
No.
what.
I just want to see how they're going to get there. If you need a win to get into the fantasy playoffs and you have Christian McCaffrey, they play the Redskins week 13.
I mean, that's just going to be beautiful.
Then the Falcons, who usually give up a bunch of points.
They're giving up points. That's going to be beautiful.
Then the Seahawks.
I don't care who it is. It's beautiful.
And then the Colts. So it's not bad.
Yeah.
But, just going through some of these teams here, I want to see with the Buccaneers what their schedule is because Godwin has been amazing. He's actually the number one wide receiver in fantasy right now.
They said he was never coming off the field, and so far that has been amazing.
This guy has 54 targets through 6 games.
Yeah.
And that was, he had week 3, which was his worst week. He only had 4 targets.
Yeah. Take that out. Wow.
Yeah, 12 targets this last week, 10 for 151 and no touchdowns. He's got 6 touchdowns on the year through 6 games. That's looking pretty good. Oh, and I was going to look at it, but where did he go now? I'm looking on. Of course, where did he go? I can look at Mike Evans for the schedule. Here he is. Week 13, Jaguars, 14 Colts, 15 Lions, 16 Texans. Can't really say much about those.
That's somewhat of a difficult one there.
Yeah.
But it's still Godwin. You still have to play him.
Oh, yeah, you're going to play him.
What are you going to do?
Was just looking, maybe for some Jameis Winston hope. It didn't.
Sorry.
Now, where's the guy I was looking for? Terry McLaurin. This guy has been a godsend to the Washington Redskins. He's something else. And the only time he hasn't scored is either if he was out or the one game versus the Patriots. He has 5 touchdowns in 5 games played. His best performance this last week, 4 for 102 touchdowns. And I put him back in on a whim. I was like, Case Keenum's back. This should be okay. Playing against a crappy team.
Now watch out, though, because if Keenum's not going to play, if they end up putting in their other guy.
I don't think it's going to happen. Dwayne Haskins
is
not good.
They can't do it.
They can't read a defense.
They have to know.
They have to.
They have to know he's not ready.
So let's look at this one. This will be our last one. If you need a win, they're playing against the Panthers. Whatever. Week 14 against the Packers. Whatever.
Yeah.
Week 15 versus the Eagles. If our secondary still sucks.
Yeah, I like that.
And then week 16 versus the Giants. Terry McLaurin could be a championship-winning wide receiver.
Well, he's just the only guy on the team they can trust in anyway.
It is.
So why not? Why not just go for him anyway? Because most people still don't know. I mean, there's some leagues out there. I don't want to call it out per se.
Yeah.
But there's a league out there that I know of that McLaurin, nobody had him until I told the person to go pick him up.
I know.
I was like, you can get away with things when you have a league where people don't know,
of course,
what they're doing.
Yeah, and then even week 16, people are like, "Who's that Terry McLaurin guy that you got?"
Well, if you don't know, if you know nothing, and you're playing for money, this isn't just a free league. You're playing for money against people that don't know what they're doing. That's the best situation. You can't get better than that.
No, you can't. So, that's just something I wanted to throw out there. People start thinking about these things. If there's some guys out there, like Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey, who just are getting overlooked or have been on the bench because they've been injured, those are guys you can trade for not that much, and they might ride you through the playoffs to a championship.
What do you want for Deshaun Jackson?
Dude, I need every ounce of points I can get from any of my guys. I was so badly injured in that week this week. Just so bad. You
had a very bad week, which is good for me because if I win this week, which there's a chance, I'll be 7-3. You're going to drop to 7-3. It's going to be great.
It's going to be
I need it because the guy that is in the lead of my division is almost unstoppable.
Right.
His team is amazing. And I saw what was his bench points outscored almost more than half the league's starters.
Yeah.
That guy has got something going. And I always have to be in the division with the best flipping team.
And you even flip-flopped to the other side of the conference. Yeah, I flip-flopped,
and I'm not even in that division. But you look at the Jets on the other side, because I'm on the Saints, and I was on the Jets. But the guy that took over my team, he is almost clinched a playoff game already. He's 9-1, probably going to be 10-1. He's going to be 9-1. And the other guys are they have 3 wins.
Oh, no.
So he's almost already a playoff team. That's how quickly things can happen in a league like that. I love that. That's why I like that league.
Well, Jamal Williams just scored on a receiving touchdown, to throw that out there. So
I could have picked him up.
Yeah, I think I ended up dropping him in most places.
Yeah.
But there you go. You never know what to expect in the NFL this year. But that is probably going to do it for us. I just wanted to make everybody start thinking ahead just a little bit.
You have
Obviously,
to.
as we go, it will be more clear, and we will look at these matchups in the playoffs a little closer, and hopefully we can guide you to a championship victory.
Yep.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching, listening, subscribe, like, heart, follow, bell, ding, dong, whatever there is out there. We appreciate it.
Toot your whistle.
Yeah, go check out theveiledmonarch.com and theveiledwest.com if you're into audio dramas. I think we got a host from Network. There he is again. So we'll give him a few minutes after the show and we'll talk to some people. And don't forget to stay fueled up this fantasy season.